Welcome to a retrospective review of Final Fantasy XVI. By the way, before watching the video, please be warned that there will be spoilers. It's been a few years since Final Fantasy XVI burst onto the scene, shaking up the franchise and sparking endless debates. Now that we've had time to reflect, let's ask, did this bold entry redefine the series? Or did it stray too far from its roots? Grab a potion, because we're diving into the story, gameplay, hunts, side quest, endgame, and legacy of Final Fantasy XVI. The story of Final Fantasy XVI takes us to Valisthea, a land blessed and cursed by the towering mother crystals that provide magic, but also fuel conflict. At the heart of the conflict is Clive Rosfield, a man whose life is shattered when his kingdom is destroyed, and his younger brother Joshua is seemingly killed in a tragic Icon battle. Clive's journey spans decades as he seeks revenge, uncovers the truth about his family, and grapples with his role as the dominant of Ifrit, powerful and destructive icon. Along the way, he allies with characters like Jill Warwick, his childhood friend, and Cid Telamon, a rebel with a heart of gold. Together, they challenge the oppressive forces of Valisthea, destroy the Mother Crystals, and confront Ultima, a godlike being with sinister plans for the world. It's a story of loss, redemption, and the fight for freedom, wrapped in a darker, more mature tone that defines this entry. One of the most innovative features of Final Fantasy XVI was the active time lore system. Imagine this, you're in the middle of a cutscene packed with political intrigue, and suddenly you realize you've forgotten who's scheming against whom. Enter active time lore, a feature that lets you pause the game and instantly access detailed summaries of characters, locations, and events relevant to the current scene. This mechanic wasn't just a convenience, it was a lifeline for players navigating Valisthea's complex web of alliances and betrayals. It kept the story accessible without dumbing it down, allowing players to fully immerse themselves in the lore. Looking back, active time lore wasn't just a feature, it was a master class in how to make dense storytelling approachable. Also incorporated with this feature are two standout characters in Final Fantasy XVI, Vivian Ninetales and Harpocrates, each playing a unique role in helping players navigate the game's rich lore. While Vivian provided a strategic overview of Valisthea's political landscape through her State of the Realm feature, Harpocrates served as the game's lore master, offering a deeper dive into the world's history and culture. Harpocrates resided in the Hideaway, where he eagerly collected information from Clive's adventures. As players completed quests and explored the world, Harpocrates expanded his library of lore entries, unlocking detailed insights into Valisthea's myths, traditions, and key events. His passion for knowledge and his endearing personality made him a fan favorite, and his library became an invaluable resource for players who wanted to fully immerse themselves in the game's world building. The heart of Final Fantasy XVI lies in its unforgettable cast of characters. Clive Rosfield, the stoic yet deeply emotional protagonist, carries the weight of the narrative with his journey of revenge and redemption. Jill Warwick, his childhood friend and steadfast ally, brings quiet strength and compassion to the story. She also wields the power of ice, being the dominant of Shiva. Cid Telamon, the chain-smoking rebel, steals the show with his charisma and unwavering dedication to freedom. He also brings the electricity, wielding the power of Rama. Torgal, Clive's loyal wolf companion is more than just a pet. He's a trusted ally in battle and a source of comfort in Clive's darkest moments. Torgal's ability to assist in combat and his bond with Clive make him an integral part of the journey. He is also a dominant of Fenrir, allegedly. Other standout characters include Joshua Rossfield, Clive's younger brother and the dominant of Phoenix, whose tragic fate drives much of the story's emotional core. Dion Lesage, the noble and conflicted dominant of Bahamut, adds layers of complexity to the game's political intrigue. Barnabas Tharmer, the enigmatic dominant of Odin, keeps players guessing with his motivations. Benedicta Harmon, the ruthless yet vulnerable dominant of Garuda. And Hugo Kuka, the ambitious and brutal dominant of Titan. Both challenge Clive in ways that test his resolve. Ultima is the godlike being behind much of the chaos in Valisthea. As the primary antagonist, Ultima's motivations and actions drive the story's climax. His battles are a culmination of the game's themes of power, freedom, and sacrifice. Gameplay in Final Fantasy XVI marked a dramatic departure from the series' traditional turn-based roots. Real-time combat took center stage, and let's be honest, it's like Devil May Cry in Final Fantasy had a very flashy, action-packed baby. The icon battles? Absolutely jaw-dropping, like playing out an epic anime showdown. One of the most exhilarating aspects of the gameplay was the seamless switches between giant action set pieces. Imagine battling a colossal icon, only to transition into a high-stakes chase or a cinematic duel that feels straight out of a blockbuster movie. These moments weren't just visually stunning, they were adrenaline-pumping experiences that kept players on the edge of their seats. Transitions were so smooth that they felt like a natural extension of the narrative, blending gameplay and storytelling into one cohesive package. The combat system was designed by Ryota Suzuki, known for his work on Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma. His expertise brought a level of fluidity and intensity to the battles that made every encounter feel exhilarating. However, the streamlined RPG elements were divisive. Customization was minimal, and traditionalists missed the depth, tinkering with party members and stats. But for what it's worth, the adrenaline-pumping action made every fight feel like a spectacle. Love it or hate it, it was a bold step forward. Let's talk about hunts and side quests. Two pillars of Final Fantasy XVI's optional content. The hunts were a standout feature, offering players the chance to track down and battle powerful monsters scattered across Valisthea. These encounters weren't just challenging, they were the test of your mastery over Clive's abilities and the showcase of the game's stunning combat mechanics. Plus, the rewards, rare materials and gear, made them well worth the effort. Side quests, on the other hand, were a mixed bag. Some felt like filler, sending you off to collect mundane items, but others? Absolute gems. They fleshed out the world, diving into the struggles of Valisthea's people and adding layers to Clive's character. The endgame side quests, in particular, were a highlight, tying up loose ends and delivering emotional payoffs that made the journey feel complete. The endgame content in Final Fantasy XVI was where the game truly shined. From high-level hunts to challenging boss battles, it pushed players to their limits. The new Game Plus mode added replayability, allowing you to carry over your progress and tackle tougher enemies. Let's not forget the ultimate gear and abilities you could unlock, perfect for those who wanted to see Clive at his most powerful. The endgame wasn't just a conclusion, It was an invitation to keep exploring and mastering the game systems. Let's take a moment to appreciate the musical score, composed by the brilliant Masayoshi Soken. Known for his work on Final Fantasy XIV, Soken brought his signature style to Final Fantasy XVI, crafting a soundtrack that perfectly complemented the game's epic and emotional tone. From the haunting melodies of quiet moments to the thunderous crescendos of Vicon battles, the music wasn't just background noise, it was a character in its own right. And we can't talk about Final Fantasy XVI without mentioning its producer, Naoki Yoshida. Affectionately known as Yoshi P, this is the man who revived Final Fantasy XIV from the ashes and turned it into one of the most beloved MMOs of all time. With Final Fantasy XVI, Yoshi P brought his visionary leadership to a single-player experience, delivering a game that pushed boundaries while staying true to the franchise's heart. The game's director, Hiroshi Takai, and its writer, Kazutoyo Maehiro, also deserve immense credit. Takai's direction ensured the game's cinematic presentation and pacing were top-notch, while Maehiro's writing brought depth and nuance to the story. And let's not forget Michael Christopher Koji Fox, who led the localization efforts, ensuring the game's dialogue and lore resonated with the global audience. Together, this dream team created a game that's as ambitious as it is unforgettable. So how does Final Fantasy XVI stack up in the grand tapestry of the franchise? The good? A mature, gripping story, innovative combat, stunning visuals, a soundtrack for the ages, acted time lore that made dense storytelling accessible, hunts that challenged players and added depth, vivid Ninetales and valuable insights, the bad, streamlined RPG systems and inconsistent side quest quality. But for all its flaws, Final Fantasy XVI stayed true to the spirit of the series, delivering epic tales, larger-than-life battles, and moments that stay with you long after you put down the controller. Final Fantasy XVI wasn't just a game, it was a statement. It challenged what a Final Fantasy could be, proving the franchise can evolve while staying true to its essence. Years later, it remains a game worth celebrating, a bold, beautiful, and unforgettable chapter in gaming history. And with this being my first retrospective video, I'd love your support. If you loved this breakdown or have thoughts of your own, don't hold back, comment down below. What did you think of Final Fantasy XVI? Did it live up to the hype? What moments or features stood out most for you? And while you're at it, let me know what games you'd like me to cover next. Your feedback means the world and will help shape the channel moving forward. Thanks for watching. And until next time, stay legendary.